Watch right here, right here.
Free at last. James Stephanie Sterling, 48Fs, has kicked COVID right in the dick. I'm allowed out after nearly 2 weeks of this bullshit, and I am ready to take the video game industry to task once again. An industry that will never heal, that will always stay sick, unlike James Stephanie Sterling, who kicked COVID right in the dick. So yes, the video game industry is still incurably shite, but James Stephanie Sterling is here with your panacea, or at the very least, a palate cleanser. We will have to talk about some nasty things that have been happening over the past few weeks, but for right now, let's focus on Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, howdy there, folks. It's me, Sonic the Hedgehog. Just reminding you that God loves you. So don't touch yourself, because God can feel it in his pants. He can see it. He knows. So don't do it. He can smell your fuck. Save yourself for marriage. Then you can jerk off as much as you like. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm waiting for a ring before I get my cummies.
There's loads of stuff to talk about with the game industry lately, but because the games industry is the games industry and the games industry is fucking terrible, not a lot of it's pleasant. We have breaking stories about Nintendo treating its workers like shit. We have Activision Blizzard's continued corruption. We have... What the fuck is this? Okay. Oh, this is great. This is delightful. This is the perfect palate cleanser before I have to go back to speaking about awful things. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is pretty fucking garbage, but at least it's funny garbage, seeing as it's one of the most hilariously pathetic attempts to milk a franchise I've seen in quite some time. Oh, Sega. Say get out of here, ya fucking clowns. What we're looking at here is a very silly spreadsheet pertaining to a new game announcement that I suppose was exciting, before Sega ruined it by turning the whole thing into a sad little joke. Basically, Sega announced a collection of remastered ROMs, Sonic Origins, which compiles the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3 Rise of the Machines and Knuckles, and Sonic CD. Despite Sega releasing and re-releasing and re-releasing these games dozens upon dozens of times over the years, it seems this time around they're actually putting a modicum of fucking effort in. Basically, they're doing more of a proper remaster than an outright ROM rehash as usual, which is pretty neat, I guess. Even though, let's be fucking honest, they should just do Sonic Mania 2. Remember Sonic Mania? And how fucking awesome it was. Why the fuck have we waited years and seen neither hide nor hair of that shit? Why is it that Sega never sticks to a winning idea in the first place and just constantly throws its shit at a big blue wall hoping something will stick even when something's already sticking? Like, I'd still really enjoy a Sonic Lost World 2 or a Sonic Generations 2. You know, actually decent Sonic games, but they're forever fucking around because they've exhibited zero confidence in the IP for decades, and screw you anyway, Sonic Lost World was fucking good. Anyway, because Sega loves fucking things up, Sega fucked up Sonic Origins, a release that theoretically should have been pretty unfuck-upable, and they did it hilariously. Basically, remember years ago when we criticised the confusopoly that game companies were engaging in with their absurd pre-order spreadsheets that featured half a dozen special editions, none of which offered the full suite of content? Ubisoft has always been particularly famous for that, which is almost a shame considering it should be more famous for all the sex abuse it covered up, but nobody cares about that. Anyway, Ubisoft used to pull shit like this all the time. Look at this. How do you have an Ultimate Edition, then Edition tiers above off the Ultimate Edition. That's literally not Ultimate, you stupid twats. The game industry has kinda called its jets on this deliberately misleading trash, mostly because it found better ways to bamboozle money out of people, but Sega clearly didn't get the memo. Sega's only problem with this con is that Sonic Origins is literally 4 decades old 16-bit games, and the ability to eke out bullshit content to get off behind a paywall is pretty limited. This has led to a little something I like to call funny. So let's look at this absurd spreadsheet, shall we? First of all, the layout is fucking awful. It's split into columns designated Standard Edition, Start Dash Pack, Premium Fun Pack, Classic Music Pack, and Digital Deluxe Edition. It's been pointed out how fucking nonsensical it is to have Coming Soon listed for 2 of these items on a goddamn pre-order sheet, but regardless, the whole thing seems written to make the game's pre-order bonuses a far bigger deal than they actually are. The thing is so obfuscatingly wild that Sega had to update it with text further explaining what you're actually getting when you buy this game. But basically there are only 2 actual editions of the game, the Standard Edition and the Deluxe Edition. The rest of the columns comprise a smattering of content available either as a pre-order in the Start Dash Pack or the Deluxe Edition. Additionally, it appears that the Premium Fun Pack will contain the Deluxe content as a Standard Edition upgrade later down the line, I think, except for the music content, which will be available in its own music pack. Because reasons. Quite why Sega has taken such a simple concept and rendered it bewildering is itself a cause of bewilderment. It's just Genesis games! Why you gotta go so hard, Sega? The whole incident has been such giggle fodder that Devolver Digital parodied it. Apparently if you buy a Trek to Yomi you get everything in one purchase. Fancy that! This, however, is not the best part of the whole charade. The best part is just how fucking utterly pitiful the deluxe and pre-order content actually is. Like I said, Sega had a real struggle on its hands when finding content to paywall in such a small selection of retro games, and the struggle is very fucking evident when you look at the delightfully contrived rubbish they're gonna try and sell to ya. First up, we have 100 bonus coins, since those are a thing, I guess. Because Sega seemingly knew it should have been embarrassed by all this, it's kept pretty damn quiet about the pre-order and deluxe edition chicanery, so for the longest time I was wondering exactly what the fuck 100 bonus coins actually fucking meant. Looking at the official site, it's detailed that coins are a collectible currency within the game, earned by completing set challenges, such as defeating a certain number of enemies per zone. These will unlock extra content, and you get 100 of these coins for pre-ordering. If you think that's a flimsy bonus, just wait. It's actually the most solid of a pitifully weak lot. Next, there's Mirror Mode, being a rather self-explanatory mirrored version of the games. And because everything Sega's offering is fucking worthless, you can actually unlock Mirror Mode in the game itself, with the pre-order bonus being an instant unlock. At least I think that's what this funny chart is saying. The original chart was even less helpful, listing it merely as Mirror Mode Unlocked. God's sake, is a bunch of stupid bastards. Hard missions are also on the table. Available only in the Deluxe Edition because difficulty modes are a premium item, apparently. And now we get to the utter dregs of Sega's pure desperation, because the chart only gets more laughable from here. Next on the list, Letterbox background. Yes, this coveted pre-order bonus adds a letterbox background to your game. Because, yay? At least you don't have to pay extra to get it at all, I suppose. Unlike this item, character animation in the main menu. Yes, that's right. Sega wants you to pay an extra upgrade fee to have characters move in the game's main menu. And the upgrades to the menu don't stop there. Oh no! Another deluxe bonus is the ability to, I shit you not, move the camera in the main menu. Yes, Sega is literally gating off animations and camera controls to sell back to you as add-on content because they've got nothing fucking else. Fucking
camera controls over the main menu islands.
What in the twatting shit? Oh, and get this, because Sega was so desperate to make this chart look like it deserved to be a chart, it included this next one as its own item. Character animation during music islands. yes, you could have just bundled this with the main menu row as character animation during menus, but Sega really needed to pad this awful crap out, so we basically have 2 listings for animations and 3 listings for menus overall, just to try and trick us into thinking it's not selling an absolute fuckwad of a lemon. Anyway, the last bit of content, arguably something that should be expected in the base game to begin with, is additional music tracks from Mega Drive/Genesis titles. It's worth pointing out that if you want music from any Genesis title, there's this website called youtube.com that you're literally watching this very video on, and it has full soundtracks for basically every single fucking game that's ever been released. Sorry, chumps, but a digital version of the Golden Axe soundtrack is worth precisely come all, considering I could just play it on the show right now. See? You fucking boners. I have to thank Sega, in a way. The game industry is beyond depressing at this point. The constant mistreatment of workers, Nintendo's coming up, the exploitation of audiences, especially children, the endless reminders that a promising artistic medium is controlled to a dominating degree by a handful of mega wealthy monsters who care only about pleasuring their shareholders. It's all gotten a bit too much, and has threatened on no small number of occasions to utterly destroy my love for games and my love for the job of talking about them. Then Sega, like a bunch of fucking losers, stagger their way onto the stage, drops trowel, and takes a massive steaming dump in front of everybody, and I feel energized. I feel alive again. I feel like I can at least have fun with what a rotten, corrupt, nasty little place the mainstream game industry has turned out to be. So thanks for that, Sega. You bunch of fucking losers. Gotta go downhill fast. And there you have it for another week. Thank you everyone, by the way, who sent me well wishes. Not so much the anti-vax twat who said I got a little sniffle and then pretended I had COVID for sympathy. Prick. But the rest of you, I really appreciate all the well wishes. It sucked. COVID is horrible. Don't recommend it. In fact, I had to miss out a booking. My very first UK wrestling booking outside of the gigs I've been doing for North NCL. Got offered one this past weekend and had to turn it down. But hopefully I will return to Leicester in the summer, where you can all rejoice. Until then, maybe go to thegimporium.com, where we're selling these fucking things. Look at how fucking good this is. Look at how fucking good this is. Right, we're selling those are good. We got on a t-shirt as well. That's the shilling done. The next order of business, thank God for me. And then I walk off that way. Actually, no, this way better, shows off my best side.